is there a tension between recommending that groups use Google Workspace for non-profits and then the danger of reliance? So obviously this morning's keynote was talking about the reliance on big tech being a danger. What are your feelings about using Google in that context?
For small civil society organizations, in Eastern Europe region, I don't know about the other contexts. This is a huge help, and there are no security concerns related to the jurisdiction US-based or to the fact this is a big tech company. It's like really huge help.
Thank you, good to know. Do we have any questions in the room? Lucas has got a mic if anyone would like to raise their hand. If not, we can go on to the next slide. Oh, yeah, over there.
Thank you, all of you. I loved how human all of your talks were, and they really started with the human side of all of these things. And thinking about that, how do you ensure, particularly Pavel, your work, how do you ensure you maintain that humanness, but also that doesn't get corrupted by other actors coming in to try and sort of use these tools and use these platforms in not the purpose they were intended? I think it's
thank you for question, and it's a great question, and it's a very complicated question. Because again, as I said before, technology always goes second and people always goes fast. So we use multi-level approach here of how we maintain, like, let's say it, like human, moral, ethic part on this platform, right? So part of them falls to legal perspective. So for organizations that come in for us, we have specially developed memorandum of what they can do, what they can't do, what's allowed, what's restricted, where we can remove them from the platform, right? It's one layer. Another layer is for sure some like technology-wise stuff. So we use AI to detect any like harmful speech or like any aggression, etc., etc. So and we have to do that because when you're opening your platform for everyone, like people are very different, and some people are provocateurs, some people are coming from like regime in our case for Belarus because we're always in resistance with existed government, unfortunately. So, and on some layer, we have like board of decision makers who making decision in complex cases. If like, because again, we are technologists mostly, so that's why we fully rely here on people processes and people boards for like complex decisions of what's allowed and what's not allowed. But combination of all these three layers helps us to be in healthy position.
Thank you. Would you pass over to Carl for the next question, which is on the Slido? What sort of questions did people come to your help desks with? Were there any patterns of the support or knowledge that are missing?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for the question. So on the one hand, a lot of government organizations have the data, but the missing or the gap is the skills to interrogate that data. So they might have, for example, a big Excel file. They can access it, they can view it, but because it's so big, there's no quick and easy way for them to make sense of that data. And so the skills there were teaching them, how do we transform this, how do we clean it to then put it into a visualization tool where it does become more easy to, for example, identify those government workers who were being accused of misconduct. And then I think another one would be the general getting, when you don't have the data in a nice format, it was around skills, for example, of how do you scrape PDFs? How do you scrape websites? How do you take this knowledge that's in a format that isn't really workable and make it machine readable to get it into something that's very visual and easy to understand? Yeah, I think that answers that question.
Lovely, thank you. Any other questions in the room? Don't be shy. Yes, one at the back.
Hi, it's William Perrin from Indigo Trust. Carl, we're always happy to work with COFA South Africa as it was in the past, and I was just really struck at your bridging the technology-based scrutiny of government processes with actually communicating that when you work with journalists on the lottery corruption example. I wonder if you could say a bit more about that, because tech for civic good often doesn't quite connect through to the real world of media and politics, and I thought that was such a strong example. I wonder if you could just expand a little.
Yeah, I think, so OpenUp's in the business of, I suppose, opening up the data, making it more accessible, and then we hand it over to like investigative journalists. I think it's a difficult one to answer because you do still rely on people, I suppose, being motivated and interested to run with data. I think we can do as much as we can to open that data up, but then it really does fall on, for example, investigative journalists, community watchdog organizations, other civil society organizations to then run with that data and take the story forward. And so we do a little, I think, and maybe this would illustrate this, is that before there was a lot of emphasis on developing the tool, and the tool will fix all the problems. And once the tool is out there, cool, we've checked that box, no more work needed. And I think that's why we've now shifted to this thing of empower, connect, or innovate and connect, where let's rather perhaps teach the journalists the data tools so that they themselves can go and interrogate the PDFs, the Excel files, whatever it may be, and then they can maybe still get some support to be, is this accurate or not? But they're not relying on another organization to do that work for them. So that was a big reason for that shift from going from the tool is the solution to no, let's actually empower the ecosystem that wants to use these tools to drive change.
Thank you. I think we've got time for just two more questions. So let's take the top two from Slido. So over to Pavel. Did you have to consider how much to expose or publicize the diaspora community, given that some of these people might be at risk as political exiles?
Yeah, that's also a great question, because sometimes we work in very unhealthy environment and dangerous environment. And I hope there is no people in position of chief marketing officers in this room, because they're going to kill me for next phrase. But in 99%, you don't need any personal data from your audience. Because in majority of cases, when companies requesting this data, it's for targeted advertisements, it's for marketing campaign, etc., etc. If your biggest marketing fund is Belarusian KGB, trust me, any leakage will just kill your reputation and your platform forever. So that's why the most simple rule we use, that for cases when we really don't need personal data, we never collect personal data. It's much more simple than to explain what you do with this data, who has access to this data, like how we store in it, etc., etc. When people just don't provide any data, like they trust you much more than in any other cases. The only exclusion we did were electoral event, global electoral event, and even for this case, we used approach without any central databases. We used self-sovereign identity when this data didn't move out of people's personal devices. And we used blockchain platform to keep it all transparent and secure. So we put tons of effort to avoid even touching of these people's data and storing them to central databases. Because again, for our cases, in majority case, it's not needed. And in majority case, it can damage us much more in case of any issues with that. And technologies are not, are never protected for 100%. Like, it can be not dependent from you or your experience, it can be dependent on your partner, it can be dependent on some like global leakage which wasn't predicted at all. So that's why try to protect your users as much as possible, forget about targeted advertisement because sometimes cost is too high.
Perfect. Let's have a really quick answer, if you don't mind, to the last question. Thank you.
Yeah, so steps. So first of all the main security-related steps are non-technical. So this is how security works. It's direct risk management. And then what activists should do? Well, different activists should probably do different things. There is no one size fits all. And let's get back again to the risk management. So, okay, there is a risk crossing the border, and they're checking my device and social media, and then something bad happens to me. And there might be different reasonable, and all of them are reasonable strategies, and the person is managing its own risks, well, like themselves. So, for example, avoid. I mean, if the risk is too high, then don't go there, don't cross the border. And then let's say accept. I mean, a person can evaluate the risk is not that high. For example, okay, they check my device and something, well, bad, but not too bad happens. Okay, just accept the risk, do nothing, like do nothing, and just go there. And for example, it could be to reduce the risk or to mitigate and to really not necessarily not post some or delete something, but sometimes to take not your main devices where you logged out, or having some backup social media accounts, or it takes a huge amount of time, but really to go through your old likes, shares, posts and like clean them, but it's really super complicated and takes lots of time. So yes, strategies could be different, and there is no one to be the best for everyone. So I cannot say, well, yes, everyone should do like this or that. The only thing I may say that everyone should probably manage her or his own risks, and well, this would be the only one general thing for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And on that note, please join me in thanking Carl, Pavel and Mikula for their insightful thoughts today.